Look. Ooh, I've never seen this before.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Ghosty fam. Welcome to The Activity Continues. This is Megan, and I'm back.
She back, baby.
I hope you missed me, but I love the fact that Amy was able to fill in for me. It was Amy squared.
That's right. It was. It was. And I just don't want anyone to feel bad or feel like I was trying to replace Megan or that
No.
Amy jumped in or anything like that. Megan actually asked Amy
Yes.
to fill in for her.
Yes.
And then came to me later and said, "Hey, I don't feel well enough to do this, but
Yes.
Amy is willing to do it." And I was like, "Oh, are you
'Cause
sure?
we
you're okay?"
both didn't want to miss a week. I was down with a horrendous back injury.
Yeah.
I got an MRI. I have 3 bulging discs.
Jesus.
So, most people do like maybe one. I'm just an overachiever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to the ER. You guys, I literally almost told my husband to call an ambulance because I could not get out of bed.
Yeah. Oh, I threw my back out. Not as bad as you. Mine wasn't a bulging disc or anything. I don't know what I did. Some kind of a weird.
Your alarm. It's time to record.
It's telling me to record.
It's time to record.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. It was many years ago. It was when I was working in daycare. And I woke up like that. And I couldn't, I was walking like Frankenstein.
Yes.
To get on the bus to go to work.
Yep.
And I'm running around after 3-year-olds. And that was not fun.
I would have cried.
It was bad. And every time I would sit for more than 2 seconds, everything seized up.
Yep. Oh, yep. I was having the back spasms all night.
And then I'd get up, and as soon as I would try to move, everything would go, and then I couldn't breathe. I'd be like,
right. Yeah.
It was horrible. And mine was not nearly as bad as yours. So I can only imagine the hell you have gone through for the past.
It was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah.
It was so bad, but Amy graciously agreed to fill in for me. So you guys, we wouldn't disappoint you and you would have something when I was out. So thank you so much, Amy.
Yes.
She is the best.
The best.
And everybody keep Amy in your thoughts right now. Recently, her beautiful, beautiful, sweet, special Briggs, who was a black lab, crossed the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah.
So
we're
thinking
the day after
Amy.
we recorded.
Yeah. Mother's
Day.
Mother's Day. So think of Amy and send her some healing thoughts because she's struggling as anybody would. Really, when you lose a pet, it's a part of your family. It's they're more than just a dog or a cat or a gerbil or a whatever.
Snake,
or spiders, whatever. Zoe.
Sure. I can't imagine crying over a spider, but you know what? I've never fallen in love with a spider, so I can't speak to that.
I'm not gonna. Yep, it's your own flavor, and I don't agree with the flavor. But you know what? I'm not gonna.
You just haven't met the right spider.
No, I'm good. I've met lots, and of all of those spiders, I've never met one, and I've been like, you know what? You're pretty okay.
Yeah,
you're pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so please.
I like spiders. I don't want them touching me, but they can live in my house as long as they don't bother me.
I try to let them live. I've tried to not kill them, but if they're big, they're dying. I'm sorry. If I can see the separation of their body and their butt, if that's how big they are, you're going to die.
That's a big spider.
That's a big spider. Jesus, take the wheel. I'll hold a flamethrower and we'll burn this place to the ground.
Burn this fucker to the ground.
We're done. That's why we have homeowners insurance.
My last episode, Amy said, burn this fucker to the ground.
Yeah, burn it.
Yep.
Oh, and then
it wasn't a spider; it was just a ghost. But
some ghosts are not nice.
Yeah.
And then right after I started to get on the mend, Jordan got pink eye.
Yeah.
And then it spread to the other eye. So you guys,
that always happens.
We need an old priest and a young priest in this house. I need some sage.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been.
I'm burning incense right now. It's white sage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, Amy, thank you so much for filling in for me. And we are sending you all the love and the healing. Yeah. She's been seeing a lot of signs, though. So I think it's Briggs telling her, like, I'm okay. I told her to imagine that Steve Irwin was welcoming Briggs over the Rainbow Bridge.
Rainbow Bridge. Yeah.
And that made me cry.
Yeah. I cried when you told me that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cried a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I cried when she told me he passed.
There's a hummingbird outside my window right now. It is 8:19 p.m. and a hummingbird just came to my feeder.
Okay. So
that's weird.
That up. Yeah.
Is that Briggs?
It might have been.
They are. I've never met Briggs, but hummingbirds are messengers. I have a little hummingbird feeder right outside my window here.
Yeah, I met Briggs. He was a good boy. He's a good boy.
Oh, he was a cutie. And as she had said in the last episode we did, I might have cut this part out because, well, first of all, I cut a bunch out just for time. But then also, he had passed and I didn't want to leave too much in because I didn't want her to be all sad all over again.
Yeah.
We are going to release that at some point to patrons. But she mentioned, she was talking about him and how he had this surgery to remove a tumor and his spleen and all this. But she's like, but it's spread and da-da-da. And she called him her heart and soul dog.
Yes.
And, we all have that, at least one. If we're lucky enough, we have more than one pet in our lives. That is one of those where you're like, oh, fuck, I better go before that one, or this is not going to go well. Yep. And I've had two, luckily, so far in my life that both have passed. But my first one, I was like, I have to go before him. There's no way I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
And of course I did. It was very painful. It
was hard.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was the right time and, he lived a good life and blah, 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 all that stuff that you think and you say and whatever. It's okay. But some are harder than others.
Yeah. Mine was my first cat, Mr. Snoops. He followed me everywhere. He was my buddy. Yeah. He lived to be 17. But you know what? Listen, it's tough and your grief journey is yours. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. You laugh, you cry, you deal. And so we're thinking of you, Amy. We're thinking of you. So
we are.
Anyways.
Okay, so moving on to...
We are a comedy podcast, I swear.
We just love animals.
We do.
And our friends.
And our friends. Yeah. And our friends love animals. And
that's right.
We're here for them.
It's all a thing.
It is.
Well, that was a good duo sigh there.
That was. We didn't even plan it.
No.
It reminds me of Mrs. Maisel when they're doing their exercises and they're like, all right, stand up and fall down.
Yeah. Are you watching Maisel this season?
I haven't watched it since I think the end of season 2 was the last time I watched it.
Okay, so you didn't watch last season either.
No.
It's really taken some turns. It's very interesting. I'm really enjoying it.
I need to get back into it because I don't know the end of which is the season where she gets proposed to by Zachary Levi. Is that one? I think I saw part of season 2.
I don't remember.
Remember?
That might be one.
I think that's one. I saw part of season 2. I don't think I finished season 2 even. I know her mom kind of went cuckoo bananas.
She did.
And then moved to
the Weissmans are.
They're all cuckoo bananas.
I realized this season, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but I realized that the Weissmans, they're not great people. They're kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And
Abe has always been kind of shitty, to be honest. Like, he's never been my favorite.
I mean, you love him because he's a bubbling idiot.
Yeah.
But he's kind of a dick.
The fact that he quit his job without like any kind of backup plan.
Yeah.
You're the only breadwinner.
Right.
You can't just do that. And you live in a fucking Upper East Side apartment.
Oh my God. Yeah. With like 400 rooms. That place is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And you have a maid. Like, you can't just decide one day to quit.
Yeah.
Abe. You moron.
Come on, Abe.
Get it together.
Come on. Speaking of Jewish families.
Sure.
I finished this week watching Jewish Matchmaking on Netflix.
My friend has been watching that. She's been watching it too. I should watch it. They're my people.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm learning a lot of things I did not know.
About Jewish people?
Yeah.
I should watch it. I am a quarter Jewish. I mean,
yeah, there you go. I'm not. I'm Jewish in my heart, but I'm not Jewish in my genealogy. But do you know that there, and I don't know what it's called. We need Amy here to help us figure out what this is called. Spoiler for what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But there's a type of, or there's a word for when Jewish people are courting, and they do not touch the whole time they're dating.
Really?
They do not even like no touching. Like don't. No, I don't just mean touch at all. Like you can't even reach for the salt at the same time.
Wow. What happens if they touch?
I don't know.
They explode?
Maybe.
I don't know.
They can't get married. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't think it's that serious, but
I know.
You are not allowed to touch. They do not touch until the ceremony. And the woman who's the matchmaker, she is fucking delightful. Aliza is her name.
Make me a match.
She and her husband did this. They did not touch until the ceremony. And she said when he took her hand at the ceremony and pledged his love, she felt all this like energy and it sounded beautiful.
That's cute.
It's super cute, but also does that work for most people?
I just realized I've been speaking into my microphone.
Oh, funny. Okay, plug
God.
that.
So I'm going to sound tinny.
That's all right.
Jesus.
I love it.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for plugging in.
I'm going to have some wine.
Yeah, have some wine because we need it. The shit. Jeez Louise. I looked over and I'm like, what is that?
What's that cord
doing? USB cord for?
You guys, Megan's back.
She's so back.
She's so back.
No, it's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, we're all fine.
It's great.
Super great.
It's okay. Great.
So, yeah. This week, Megan is recapping the Dead Files episode called Deadly Attraction.
Bum, bum,
bum. It's season 1, episode 14, and it originally aired on May 25th, 2012, which I noted is right around when this one will be released.
Also, isn't that around when the Mayans said the world was going to end? Wasn't it like May 20th of 2012 or something, May 21st? I chose this because it takes place in Wichita, Kansas, and that made me think of the BTK killer.
Right.
So that's why I did it. Content warning, there is child death in the history of it.
Okay.
But they don't talk about it too much, so I wasn't.
Well, if you were okay with it, then I was
okay with it.
Other people won't be too upset.
Also, we need to give a big shout out to our amazing patrons. Thank you so much. You guys are you're super best. Amazing. You're just like, I don't even think of you as patrons. I honestly think of you as friends.
Yeah.
So great conversations. You're suggesting episodes. Thank you. Reviewing us, joining us for the happy hours, telling Amy she's got ghosts.
Yeah.
Telling me there's a child around me, which is
bathroom.
I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy that.
Okay.
Especially because I was working yesterday and Jordan just picked my hand up and bit my thumb out of nowhere.
Oh,
just
cool.
Nowhere. So I picked him up and put him in a timeout. I just
see. I would have bit his thumb, but that's just how tit for tat.
He probably would have thought it was a joke and laughed.
Probably.
And I'm like, no.
I mean, I wouldn't bite real hard, but
I know. I'm like, no, actually, I'd just bite it off. So
he'll never do that again.
It's true. And we got wood floors, so the blood cleanup would be real easy.
Super easy.
So yes, thank you so much to all of our patrons. If you want to join us, you can do it for as little as $1 a month.
That's right.
That's way less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, even just a plain black cup of coffee.
A large, but still. Yeah.
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 So,
and we love, we're having a great time over there. Yep. Really good discussions. I got to give a shout out to Scarlett and Grey Witch, who is quite active, which we love. And she's starting conversations and she's giving out ideas and yeah. So we're having a great time over there. Great conversation.
We are. Yep. We're loving it. So feel free to join. $1 a month. You get a bunch of, bonus stuff. You get conversations that we cut out that are hysterical.
That's right. Well, and some things are going to change a little bit this is, we kind of stopped doing seasons. Like we don't really call it seasons anymore. But when I looked at, like, we did 20 some episodes in season 1, 20 some episodes in season 2, and we are now at 20 some more episodes in what we're calling season 3. So we are going to take a little mini break next week.
Yes.
We're still going to record. We're still going to do something. It's just not going to be covering an episode of the Dead Files. I think we're just going to chit chat. However, there are some things that we are going to change. We have asked Amy, patron Amy. We need a nickname for her. I'm not sure what we're going to use yet. So if you have any ideas,
let us know. Yep. She's open. Please keep it nice. She's delightful.
She's delightful. So she is going to join our show.
Yay!
And she is going to be like our fact checker.
Yep.
We probably need a cuter name for that too.
Yep.
But she is going to join us and she'll be on with us. So you'll see the three of us here.
Yep. And hear her and see her.
Yep. You'll hear her and you'll see her. And how when Megan and I are talking about something and we're like, what's the name of that thing? What's that thing? And then we always say, Amy's yelling at us right now.
Yes.
Well, she's going to be doing that in real time.
She's going to be yelling at us in real life. Yeah. And you'll get to hear it too.
Yep. So if she knows it at the time, she can just blurt it out.
Yep.
If it's something she needs to look up, we will just continue doing our thing and let Amy go and deal with that and figure it out and then come back to us and say, yo, when you said, what is that? It's this.
And like today, she just dropped a piece of knowledge on us. Did you know that until like the 1200s, grapes were called wineberries?
I know. I love it. I'm calling it that from now on.
I had no idea. We were just texting and she was like, BTW.
Yeah.
Grapes are called wineberries. And I'm like, why are they not called that? They should still be called that.
For sure.
That is the best name for grapes.
Right.
Except maybe when you're feeding your toddler, like, here, do you want a wineberry? That might not be the best.
Yeah.
But for everybody, like 21 and older, they should only be referred to as wineberries.
Right. Right.
So she's full of fun info like that.
She is. She's very smart. She used to be a teacher.
Yep.
So she's very good at explaining things.
Yes. Without making you feel like an idiot.
Exactly. Yeah. So she's perfect for this role.
Yes.
And we adore her. So we would love to bring her into our little family. And so she's going to be joining us starting next week. So she's going to kind of keep us in check.
Yep.
And
someone needs to.
She will probably also cover an episode here and again when she wants to. If she has something she really wants to do, or there's like 5 weeks in a month, maybe she'll do that extra week, or we haven't solidified anything yet. But anyway, she's going to be joining us and she's going to be here and you'll see her and hear her and all of that. The other thing that we are thinking of doing, we're going to start this. We may not be able to keep this up, but this is the plan. We would like to start now recapping only the new episodes of the Dead Files.
Yep.
Because the new season starts next week for us. You guys will have already heard it by now. Or seen it by now.
Yeah.
And so we are going to just try and recap the new episodes.
Yep.
And they will be released about a week after the episode of the Dead Files has aired. So you'll have a week to watch it if you want to watch it before you listen to us, or just listen to us later or whatever. If you want to watch it first,
your choice,
whatever. Or if you don't have the Discovery Channel or the Travel Channel, you just want to hear us talk about it, that's fine too.
Yeah. Whatever you want.
You'll have a week in between because we won't be able to get them early. Like sometimes shows they'll give it to you early. I didn't ask. I don't even know who to ask.
Special.
We're not that special.
Yet.
We ain't that big, you guys.
Yet.
So yet.
Manifest.
Very good. Thank you. Someday we will be able to watch them ahead of time.
Look, we're already expanding.
That's right. We are expanding.
Yep.
And we're expanding in a different way also, that I've started making shorts for YouTube. I would call them audiograms, but there's video involved too. So it's not just audio. And I've been posting them on YouTube and on Instagram and Facebook. And we're getting some juice. We're getting some hits. So
hey,
whatever works. I'll take it.
Yep. Yeah.
So find us over on YouTube, and the links will be in the show notes, or a link to the links will be in the show notes. I will put a link to it. Yeah. Links and also on YouTube now has a thing where you can actually be a podcast, not just a channel with videos or whatever.
Yep.
So I have converted all of our show into an actual podcast. Yep.
Nice.
So that is, it doesn't really look that much different to the user, but I think it'll show up differently as people search like a podcast, or if they search podcasts or whatever, it'll show up. So lots of new stuff like that going on for our 4th season. Yes. So yeah, that's where we are.
Lots of changes. So Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. We're excited. We also have a happy hour coming up, which will have already passed. When is it again?
It's the 21st. So
today's
the 18th, 19th, 20th.
That's
20th.
Sunday.
3 days. Yeah, Sunday.
What am I doing on Sunday?
Well, I don't know, but you RSVP'd. Yes. So
damn it. This is yes.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
It's going to be great fun. I hope Zoe's there. I hope we get more people to join.
I hope so too. We had a few patrons that didn't make it to the last one, so hopefully they'll make it to this one, and we'll have a rip-roaring
We will have had a rip-roaring good time.
Well, it was so much fun.
The last one was like 2.5 hours, and we were like, okay, we should probably go, especially because like Zoe's in the she's across the pond, and so it was like 10:30 there, and I'm like, girlfriend, like that's way past my bedtime.
Yeah. She's younger than us, though. She can stay up late.
I know she is.
I assume she's younger than us. I don't really know, but she's younger than me. I mean, everybody is. So I'm a dinosaur. So everyone's younger.
Stop it.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, you stop it. Oh, you.
Oh, you.
All right. Anything else before we jump into it?
I think we're good. Let's jump right in.
Right. So, all right. So it's Deadly Attraction. We're in Wichita, Kansas, which again, BTK. And Kristen called Steve, and they've got some strange things going on in the home. And she sent a video that actually really freaked Steve out, and they play it a lot. I'm gonna try. I wonder if I took a video. It was tough to get because they took they would show snippets of it and then cut back and forth, and they showed it throughout the episode.
Okay.
But the grandkids have moved in now, and they're being affected as well. And so really that's what caused Kristen to call them, is, the fear of the grandkids. So then we've got, it shows Amy and her arrival, and it shows her in the car because we're still in season 1. So they're kind of doing, showing her pulling up, and she says,
it's a long hallway, all black and burnt. The teenage girl showed up. There is a huge gash across the lower right side of her hairline.
And so then we've got Matt doing his walk, clearing everything. The location is now ready for tonight's walk. So Amy opens the door, and she goes inside, and she kind of holds her hand on the door for a minute. And she says, there are 2 people in here. She says, an elderly couple, a man and a woman. And she says, and this is the only time that she talks about these people. She doesn't talk about them in the reveal. She doesn't bring them up again. As far as I remember,
she probably did. It was cut.
Yeah. I started watching this, and then everything happened, and then I stopped. So, and then I just finished it yesterday. So I'm just as clueless as some of you for this, because my memory is not great. So she says the elderly couple, they like it there. And the woman likes being dead because she can watch people come and go. She's basically it's a real life soap opera that she just watches everybody's lives. And I love it. That's not me.
Yeah. I love it. That would be me. I'd be like, pop the popcorn.
Yeah. I'd be popcorn. I'd be like getting all the hot tea. I'd be like getting all the hot goss. So live your best dead life. Dead your best life. I don't know how you would say that, but. And then there's also something here that's not so good. And she says it comes from outside. She said she wants to leave. She doesn't.
Amy wants to leave?
Amy wants to leave. She's not having a good time.
No. Okay.
So then we go to Steve and Kristen, and Kristen says she hears things, bumps against the wall when nobody is there. But she said she feels whatever is there is connected to her for some reason. And we get into that later.
Okay.
And she says it's affecting her grandchildren as well. And she's afraid for them. And Steve asks if anything like this has ever happened to her before. And she says, yeah, like every place. And so I wrote, maybe she's a sensitive or a medium or something, because, if it's happening to you all the time, that's not just the location.
Right.
She tells Steve that she thought she could handle it on her own, but it's too much, especially now with the grandkids getting involved. And so she's just really, really scared for them. Steve asks if she's thought of selling the house, and she says no. And Steve says, why? And she says, honestly, whatever is in the house will follow her. And I said, same girlfriend. Like, been there, done that. Yep. My ghost, he attached himself to me. So Frank, because I reminded him of his sister. So. And
that was like 10 years, right?
That was 10 years that he was with me. Yeah. He did not leave.
How did he ever leave? Did he just disappear? Or did you?
So I called the Dakota County Paranormal Society. So I went to a meetup with them, and they had said that, we help people. We, do it all for free. And then I walked up to him and I was like, can I get your contact information? I'm like, I have something that's attached to me. I'd really like to figure out what it is, and so they came to my house, and they kind of did like an Amy thing where they came, they set up at nighttime. They spent like 2.5 hours there. Cool. They communicated with him, and then they told him to move on.
And were you there?
I was there the whole time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And they just told him to move on. And so he left. Yeah. One of her spirit guides actually helped him to cross. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It was nice. I don't know what happened to them, but they were great.
Good.
She was a medium, and it was very much like an Amy team.
Yeah. I wonder if they're still around.
I wonder, Amy.
Hey, Dakota. Dakota Paranormal Group. If you're
Dakota County Paranormal Society. Are you there? It's me, Megan. You helped me 10 years ago. They were probably like, the fuck? No, they were great. So Kristen says,
it didn't just start in this house. It's just continuing in this house.
So then we go back to Amy, and she says there's a major sensitive who lives here. And she said things are being attracted to the house and not good things.
Ooh.
And this walk was really painful for Amy. She said there's a voiceover of her saying, and that sometimes the dead are so powerful that they can make the living sick to the point where they feel exhaustion, depression, even physical pain. And that's what Amy experiences on this walk. There's a spirit that's actually really powerful. And she's actually like, later in the episode, she's yelling at him and she's like, stop it. Like, you're hurting me.
Oh my God.
This was a tough walk for her. So Matt asks if it can affect the living, and Amy says, yeah, it makes them sick. So then we get into the master bedroom with Steve and Kristen. And Kristen says she'll be laying in bed trying to sleep, and she hears feet walking up and down the hall.
Ew.
No, thank you. No, we don't do that. She says it happens almost every day, and she hears it getting closer to a room, like it's walking to her room. Goodbye. No, thank you. So then we cut to Amy, and she says she's in the master bedroom. She's getting the name Herb or Herbie. She says he's really grumpy, and she says his right hip isn't good. He's always in pain. So then we cut back to Kristen, and she said she'll go days without sleeping if she's alone. She cannot be in that room alone.
Oh my God.
And she says she has to have somebody in the room with her.
Jeez.
And then Amy says, we go back to Amy, and Herb doesn't like anyone who's ever lived in the house. Anybody. It doesn't matter who. Doesn't like them.
Wow.
And then she says,
This is his house.
And he's asking if they can remove people from the home. So essentially, Herb's first thought is that Amy's here to help him. Like, oh my God, thank God you're here.
Yeah.
Get these people out of my location. This is my house. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else. Basically, get them out. My room, my house. No.
So he kind of sees that as like, they are the ghosts that need to go.
Like they're invading his space.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, thank God, Amy, you're here to help me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's like,
she's like,
what,
Ash, that's funny story. No. Bit of a twist. Plot twist. So we get to the dining room, and this is where Steve said one of the stupidest things I've ever heard him say.
Oh no, Steve.
So I know it's worse than the dog.
Oh no.
So Kristen was sitting in the dining room. She had her back to the wall and there's a window behind her. And she was feeding her grandson in a high chair. And she said that somebody grabbed her arm and jerked it back forcefully. And Steve goes, well, the window is there. Could someone have put their hand through the window?
Like who?
Okay, the window's there. Did somebody could have put their hand through the window from the outside?
A shut window with the glass and a screen? No.
Oh my God.
Who's just walking around? Oh my God, an open window? I should grab her arm. No. She said Steve. It had never happened before, but it scared her. And I'm like, yeah, that would scare me. She said she started crying and she got out of the room. So then we're in with Amy and we're in the dining room. And she says, Herbie is getting aggressive.
Ugh.
And then she says,
sorry, I like that for a title. Herbie is getting aggressive.
Yes, I love it. That is it. There's not going to be a better one.
Herbie's getting a little aggressive.
And then Amy's doing another voiceover. And she says, Herbie won't leave her alone. He's trying to jump her. He's trying to get control of her thoughts and actions. And she says it's dangerous for her and it's dangerous for anybody nearby. And she keeps telling him to stop. Like, she's like, stop it. Stop. And this, you could tell she was in a lot of pain because she kept like,
Amy.
And like,
if anyone wonders why she's leaving the show,
this is it. Like,
that's it.
This is just one
Can you imagine that being your job
seasons,
every day? Ugh.
12 episodes at least a season of feeling this. And not only this, but I'm sure she feels it when she's not filming. Like, the dead are drawn to her, you know?
Yeah.
So then we get to we're back to Kristen, and Steve asks her about the video that she sent him and asks her to describe it. And essentially what it is it's her hands and her feet, and the veins are just popping out like roid rage, like just super popping out. And it would basically started in her hands and started to go up her arms, and you could see it in her feet going up her feet, and it hurt. And she said that's never happened before. And in the video, she's panicking. She's like, I don't know how to stop it. And so they kind of watch the video and she's like, this is what happened. Then we go to Amy and she says, Herb knows how to physically manipulate the human body. Never good. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Kristen talks about the reaction started going up both her arms and then up her legs. And she says she can feel when it's happening. It goes up her legs and then it gets really, really painful. And so this is really cutting back and forth between Amy and Kristen a lot, because Amy's essentially describing what's happening to her, which is what's happening to Kristen. And so Amy says it really hurts. And she said she feels agitation like going up your spine.
Ugh.
So Kristen said it felt like every muscle was locked up. She said it was really in pain. And now I'm like, ooh, girlfriend. Yeah. And they keep showing this video of her veins. And Steve was like, well, how did you make it stop? And Kristen said she just told whatever was doing it to stop. And she wanted her body back. So Herb kind of sounds like a bully.
For the moment, but it keeps doing it again, right?
I don't know if it does it again and again. They just reference that one video.
Oh, okay.
Over and over again. Yeah.
Okay.
So then we're going back to Amy. And Amy says she sees dead people walking up the stairs outside, walking in and walking through the kitchen. And it's just like a line of dead people just coming in. and they're being attracted to the house. So both good and bad things are being attracted to the house. And then we go to Steve and Jason, who's Kristen's boyfriend. And Jason, says the house creates fear and angst in Kristen. He says she's just uncomfortable, she's unsettled, and she's really scared. And the things that are happening to her, worried Jason. They talk about the video and, how he was freaking out. And Jason feels like something was trying to take her over in that video. And I can't say he's wrong.
Right.
I mean, it's not good.
Yep.
Then we're back to Amy, and she said Herb is really, really mad. And she said it feels like there's hands on her lower back, up and her upper butt, and then she does kind of like this, like somebody's grabbing her butt, slapping it. And she said it feels like electricity, like a jolt. And she said Herb knows how to do electrical impulses throughout your body.
Ew.
So Herb is very powerful, and he knows how to do a lot of stuff. So then we go back to Jason, and Steve is like, well, any experiences that you've had? And within the last month, he said he was laying with his hands on his chest. He was trying to sleep, which, first of all, who goes to sleep like that? Like, your hand, like, what are you, a vampire? I want to suck your blood. Like, sleep like a normal person, but whatever. And then he said something put its hands on Jason's hands, and it was cold. And he said he looked to the left and he sees the silhouette of a little girl. And at first he thought it was one of the grandkids, but then figured out it was not. It was a ghost. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. So then the grandkids will talk about dreams that they've had. And the granddaughter talks about a dream that she has over and over and over again. And I have a picture of what she drew, but she says her little brother is cornered and small monstrous characters are throwing things at him and making him cry. And she drew what she saw in her dreams. And it's kind of like, let me see if I can find the picture I sent you, because I think I sent it to you. No, I sure didn't. Maybe I thought about sending it to you.
That's almost as good.
That's probably realistically what happened. So it's got like a longer face with a big nose.
Oh, yeah.
Spiky hair. And the spikes on the head, she describes as antenna. And she described it as an ogre face. She said it's really long and skinny.
I don't know if that's going to show up.
No.
Probably not. Not really.
Probably not. No. Really long and skinny. It's got long arms and a pointy head. So then we go to Amy.
And the eyes are green.
The eyes are yellow.
Yellow.
It's like a yellow highlighter. Yeah.
Oh,
it looks
got
green
it.
in the picture.
Yep,
but I don't know why she drew it with a yellow highlighter. They don't talk about it, but I'm assuming that's what
they were
its eyes
probably
look like.
glowing.
Yeah. So then Amy says there's something on the roof. It's been up there for a few months. She doesn't know what it is. She says it's long and skinny, looks like a bug. And she said it scuttles about on the roof. And she takes her hands and like runs them up and down the wall to get like that, scuttle, like, sound. She said it's trying to get in. There's someone in the house that it wants to be attached to.
Oh, God.
Then we go to Elisa, who's Kristen's daughter. And she said her sons will see her son sees things, and he's drawn to certain areas in the hallway, and he'll like look at the corner and he'll say, "Mommy, what is that?" And she'll look in the corner and there's nothing there. Fuck no.
Mm-mm.
And Steve asks if he's ever described anything to her, and she says he'll just say, "Oh no," or he'll say monster. So I'm assuming this is a smaller child, like 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah.
We don't see them. They don't tell us anything about them other than
they don't show the kids at all?
Nope, they don't show the kids at all. No. And then, Elisa says her mom used to be really funny, witty, outgoing. And she said lately she's just different. And she said she thinks whatever is in the house is stealing parts of Kristen. So then we go back to Amy, and she says the bug thing wants in. And then she says it's bad, bad, bad for them. And Matt says it wants to attach itself to someone. What does that mean? What would happen to that person? And Amy looks at him and says that person would do bad things. Like they would hurt people. Yeah, gross. Don't like it. Mm-mm. So then the last owner, Steve was able to track him down, the last owner of the house. Unfortunately, he died a few years ago, but the neighbor, Donna, has lived there for a long time. And so she knew the old neighbor. And she said he was kind of an older, grouchy dude. Kids would run up and down the street and he would yell at them.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. Basically, like, sorry. Basically, your crotchety old man.
Yeah.
You know, just grumpy. But he never mentioned anything going on in the house to Donna. Never mentioned any activity that he had. I don't know how close they were, if that's something he would have mentioned. And Donna said nothing has ever happened in her house either. So that makes me think further that it's Kristen and it's not the house.
Yeah.
It's Kristen. Yeah. So Amy, we're back to Amy, and Herb feels like he lived in the house to her, but she doesn't know if...
Sorry. Did you call him Herb?
Did I? Herb. Sorry. Herb.
No, that just cracks me up.
Herb, oregano, thyme. Herb. Herb feels like she said he feels like he lived in the house. But she doesn't know if he lived there ever or he just like died and like put himself in the house. Like, this is my house. So she doesn't know if there's any connection to the house, or, you know, he was just like, and I choose you.
This
to be
one.
my place. Yeah. And again, he doesn't like people in the house. He doesn't like anybody in the house. They annoy him. They're in his space. It's his house. Get out.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Herb.
Same. I don't like people in my house, and I live with most of them.
Right.
Just kidding. So then we go to Anthony Horsch, who's a historian. And Kristen lives in a section of town known as Delano, which in the olden days was considered the red light district.
Boom, chicka, chicka, bow.
This is where cowboys would go to blow off steam. I think they blew something. So sorry.
Something was being blown.
Something was being blown. I don't think it was steam. So, you know, you think about cowboys, like Anthony's like, they were on the trail for 3 months, 7 days a week, 16-hour days. They get back, they want a little something, something, you know what I'm saying? And Steve is like, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. Well, Steven, you are not wrong. In the 1870s, we don't get a definitive year. We just get 1870s. A gun battle happened in Delano. And I know it was Delano because they mentioned it several times. So I'm not saying it weird. I'm saying it the way they said.
Because like we have a city.
Delano.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to say
my
Delano.
guess is we're saying it wrong. Minnesotans are probably saying it wrong.
We don't do anything wrong. So a gun battle happened. We have Rowdy Joe Lau. And that's the picture I sent you. And his competitor, Redbeard. No picture of Redbeard.
Okay.
They both had dance halls right across from the street from one another. Now, in the reveal, Steve calls them brothels. But in this, they call them a dance hall. So that's why when Steve called them a brothel, I was like, Steve, they were dance halls. But, you know, that's probably just what they call them to keep
Amy
the cops.
P, are dance halls and brothels the same thing in 1870s?
1870s.
Yeah.
And go. So Redbeard's business sounds like a pirate, doesn't he? Redbeard.
Yeah.
Arrgh, I'm Redbeard. Because that's what all pirates sound like.
Yeah.
So Redbeard's business wasn't doing really well. And on top of that, Rowdy Joe was like 20 years younger than Redbeard. So not only is Rowdy Joe more successful, he's probably also better looking than Redbeard, being 20 years younger.
Yeah.
So Anthony speculates that Redbeard was just plain jealous of him. So one night, Redbeard saw Joe in the other building, because remember, they're right across the street from each other. And he was just like, fuck this guy, pulled out a gun and shot him.
Whoa.
But he didn't die because there was like a gun battle, you know? And during the gun battle, a few innocent bystanders were shot, including a sex worker named Annie Franklin. She was shot in the stomach, and the doctors assumed it was going to be a mortal wound, which probably correct, because 1870s, I can't imagine there's a lot of medicine for that.
Right.
So we're back to Amy. She sees a woman laying down and the back of her head is open. And Amy says there's like blood and tissue and skull and brain everywhere. And I'm like, ew, gross. Nasty. And Amy does another voiceover because, we're early in the show. And she talks about how as a sensitive, she can feel what a dead person is experiencing. And the pain that this woman experienced was unbearable. So she's in a lot of pain during this walk. And she hears gunshots and she sees a black gun. And so she's like channeling this. So Steve, we're back with Steve and Anthony. And Steve asks, well, what happens when sex workers died? And Anthony said more than likely it was a pauper's burial. Basically, they dug a hole in the ground, put her in, buried her, and we're like, see ya. No headstone, no marker, nothing. So Amy says,
yeah, they shoved her in a little grave there. She just rotted out.
Oh.
Yeah.
But now, wasn't this lady in history shot in the stomach? But this lady Amy saw was shot in the head?
Yeah, I don't think they're the same girl.
Well, it could have been more than one person that was killed in that.
I mean, they did say innocent bystanders were shot. So, yeah. So now Steve goes, I'm going to dig through the archives one last time. And I hit something big. And then they show him and he's, looking up and he goes, and I hit something big. And then he goes, looks up like, what?
Oh, boy.
There was a massive fire that broke out a few houses down from Kristen's in 1916. So then we meet Chief Bill Owens. He's the fire chief. And a Masonic home burned down in 1916. The fire started from the boiler. I don't know. There's a boiler room. I don't know what a boiler room does. Does it? I don't know what. Does it make things warm? I don't know.
Yeah, boiler room is the room where the furnace is.
Oh, well then why don't they just call it the
boiler is
room?
another name for a furnace.
That's silly. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it used to be.
I'm sure there's a logical reason.
I think it used to be water that was boiled, hot water that heated the house.
How does that work? You'd have to have a small house or a lot of water.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah.
So this is great. The boiler had a leak. And they were like, oh, God, like, just fucking watch it. Like, it'll be fine. So they decided, they're like, you know what? We'll just keep an eye on this boiler and it'll be safe. It'll be fine. Well, then, so there was a 16-year-old boy who was on watch overnight, which, first of all, why is a 16-year-old on watch overnight?
He's plenty old enough. They put you to work when you were 10.
I was just going to say, he's probably had a job for 5 years.
Yeah. He's a senior.
He's a senior employee. Yeah. He fell asleep because he's 16.
Yeah.
Woke up at 2 a.m. and the boiler room was on fire.
No.
So then we go back to Amy. Matt asks what she's feeling and she just whispers, fire.
She whispered what?
Fire.
Oh.
I whispered too well.
You did. I couldn't hear you. and Zoom likes to cut out.
Oh.
Okay.
Like
when you whisper, cuts it out.
So it's fire.
Fire. Got it.
So she said the hallway was burnt and she sees a lady who is burnt. So we're back to Fire Chief Bill Owens. And Steve is like, well, how many people lived here? So 108 people lived there, including children. Of the 108 people, 47 of them were children. So the victims of the fire, we have 2 elderly couples, Mr. and Mrs. Brown and Mr. and Mrs. Ferris. So I'm guessing one of those couples is the one couple that we saw when Amy first got in, who said they like to watch people.
Mm-hmm.
And then also a young woman who was 20 years old, who was working there, taking care of the children. This gets real sad. She was working there. She was going to get married in the spring. And while she was working there, she had been working on making her wedding dress. So she got all of the kids in her care out. She thought the fire was going to be put out, rushed back in, rushed past a firefighter to grab her wedding dress.
Oh, no.
And she did not make it out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it was real. It was.
That's really sad.
Yeah, 20 years old for a dress. I mean, I get it. but like it's a dress.
Well, if you think that it's fine and you think that you're safe, but that's
and there was no evacuation plan whatsoever for this. So the kids were running out into the snow. Some of them were barefoot. They ran to just houses to ask for help. Just people in the middle of the night run into these people's houses asking for help. So then we go to the sketch, and Amy says she's like, I encountered a lot of entities on my walk, but one that concerned me the most was Herb, not Herb. I keep wanting to say herb. I want to say herb. Because, I cook with herbs.
That's right.
Unless you're in England and then you cook with herbs.
You cook with herb.
And Zoe's like...
Cannibals.
Yeah. Or maybe you just cook with Herb. Like he's chopping,
like he's helping
boiling.
you. Yeah, he's your sous chef.
That got dark. You took that dark. I was like, oh, Herb, what a helper. And you're like, oh, Herb, let's season you. Long pig. So when she's drawing, or not drawing, she's talking to the sketch artist. This was very more conversational, more conversational. She said he has a long oval face, a drinker's nose, which is a big red nose.
Yep.
And two
gin blossom,
chins.
we call those.
What?
Gin blossom. It's called a gin blossom.
Oh my God. Maybe that's where the band, the Gin Blossoms, got their name from.
Of course. Yeah.
Look at that. 38. Learn something new every day.
Yep.
And he has two chins, which like easy, Amy. You don't know what his life was like.
Maybe he was just looking down funny.
Yeah. No, she wasn't judging him, but so then we go to the reveal and then we get a ring shot right there. Steve's just sitting like this with a big old ring shot.
Yep.
So it's Kristen and Jason. And then Amy does a voiceover stating that the minute she walked into the house, she knew that somebody there had abilities and she's pretty sure it's Kristen. And so she said the first entity she encountered was a dead girl. She saw a gun, brains, and blood. She said she was killed by a gun and saw her being thrown into a shallow grave. And so that's when Steve is like, this used to be a violent neighborhood in Delano. Yes. I had to think about it. Steve says there was a shootout between two brothel owners. And then he talks about how, Rowdy Joe and Redbeard, were like, pew, pew, pew. And Annie Franklin, was shot in the stomach. And then we kind of move on from that. That's really all they talk about with that. Amy doesn't go into much more detail, or if she does.
She's like, that has nothing to do with what I saw, but she's please like, continue.
Tell me more about what I saw. Steve's like, well, actually. Just kidding.
Let me mansplain it to you.
Let me mansplain your abilities. It's probably this. I'm just kidding. I cannot see Steve doing that.
No, I don't think so either.
And then Amy said she saw children playing and there was a fire. And every time I say that, I'm like, Lord Jesus, there's a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that. So Amy said she said the hallway was on fire. Amy said she said.
Amy said she said.
I said Amy said that she said that I said. No. Amy said that the hallway was on fire and she saw a woman who was burned. So I'm guessing that's the woman who ran back in for her wedding dress and passed away. Yeah. And that's where Steve talks about the fire and, the Masonic house in 1960, the boiler room was on fire. And that's when Kristen says, well, she actually will hear kids running in the hall and she hears kids talking. And Jason talks about when he felt the cold hands go over both his hands. And then he looked and saw the little girl, standing next to his bed. And so these are probably all, and they didn't talk about, children being victims in the fire. So I don't know if this is residual or if they just didn't bring up the kids who passed away.
Yeah.
And then Amy said, coming from the back door into the dining area, there was a line of dead people walking in. And she said they're drawn here by something. And she said, this isn't good for the living or the dead. Okay, so Amy said that these dead people coming in and out, are having a negative effect, upset stomach, ulcers, fatigue. And then Jason said, when he's there, his stomach will get upset and he'll feel super nauseous. But when he's not at the house, he's fine. He goes, it's really weird. And I'm like, it's really not that weird to like feel sick and then feel fine, but whatever. Okay, Jason. And then Amy talks about Herb. She said he's an elderly man and he got physical with her.
Physical.
She said he's learned how to manipulate the body, and she said it was like an onslaught, and she said it was a really, really painful. Amy says that he prefers the back bedroom, and she's concerned about the children, and without a doubt, he's back there in that area. Kristen talks about what happened when she was feeding her grandson. Nobody reached through the window, Steve. And I mean, is that not the dumbest thing you've heard him ask? Not you didn't hear him, but
grasping at straws.
That's grasping at straws. Like, that's a Greg thing.
Yeah.
Skeptic Greg is like, well, what if?
Well, but maybe. Was the window open?
Was the window open? Did a dog reach through and grab you? Honestly, I get that Steve has to rule everything out.
Right.
I think we can rule that out, Steve.
I think we
can rule a stranger opening the window, cutting through the screen, and grabbing her arm.
Yeah.
I think so. So, when Amy first encountered Herb, he seems. I really have to enunciate it now. She said he seemed like a grumpy old man, like, kind of endearing. Like, you're just a grumpy, crotchety old man. Okay, boomer, like, calm down. In my day, we used to go to the video store and rent the videos. Sure, Grandma, you idiot.
Sure. Let's get you sitting down now.
Let's get you sitting down with your tea, you idiot. But then she said once he figured out that she was not there to help him get rid of the living, that's when he started attacking her and trying to jump her and just being a dick. And Steve found a picture of the former owner, and he brings it out and shows it to them. And Amy had a sketch done of Herb. And they show it, and it's not the same guy. And so Steve goes, well, who the hell is this guy?
Who the fuck is this?
Who is this?
New sketch. Who this?
Who? New sketch. Who this? Who you? Amy
it's certainly not Rowdy Joe.
No, it's not Rowdy Joe.
No.
Hang on. No, we don't know who it is. Like, there's nobody in the episode that it could be.
Okay.
Because Steve is like, who the fuck is this? Okay, he didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing what Steve said.
He probably did say that. And then they made him say, like, Steve, can you do that again, but without the fuck?
Steven. He's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I don't know, Steve. I don't know. We don't know. Amy says that Herb is attracted to the house because there's somebody very powerful there who's very open. And Amy believes that Kristen's abilities are super powerful. And this is Amy, like, she really had some really good, like, insights this episode. And she said there's one question that she asks people to see if they might be sensitives. Do you have vivid dreams? And I have, I have the most vivid dreams. When I was in high school, I was on the swim team. You wouldn't know it to look at me, but I used to be a swimmer. Long time ago. And for, every year for the banquet, they would do these things like, this girl is funny, this girl, blah, blah, blah. And so one year I was the girl. They gave me a dream journal because every day at practice, I would come in and I would be like, you guys will not believe the dream that I had last night.
Oh my God. Do you still have a dream journal?
No.
You should.
I should. I have books on, like, dream interpretations. But
I do too. I've always had fucking weird dreams.
Yeah. And not like, even if they're not bad dreams, like, they're always so vivid.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a dream journal right next to my bed, but usually I'm too lazy to actually, like, turn on the light and grab the pen and write stuff down.
Right.
And I probably wouldn't be able to read it anyway. But I have.
It'd be fun to try.
I know. Well, I did try automatic writing. That's a different thing. But I use Google Keep on my phone. Mm-hmm. So when I wake up in the middle of the night after a weird dream, I just open it up and then I turn on, like, as you were to, like, type. As you were to type a note, Greg's banging around up there.
God damn it, Greg.
I know. And
did somebody reach through the window and do it though?
Yeah, probably.
Sorry.
And so I use the talk to text thing on my keyboard. So I just hit that button and then I just talk it. And so I'm like half asleep and I'm like, so I was at the store and this guy came in and he was like, Greg, but it wasn't Greg. And then, all that kind of shit.
Yes.
And then I can go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I wake up in the morning and I read it and I'm like, oh yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually don't stay awake for dreams unless they're really scary. And then I'm like, then I text my friends who are in other time zones and I'm like, please be awake with me for a little bit because I'm really scared.
Yeah. You can always text me. I'm probably awake writing my own dreams down. So, but no, I recommend doing that. So you have some kind of,
because that's smart.
Because a lot of times I wake up and if I don't document it, I just know that I had a weird dream, but I don't remember the details. This way, because I've said it again when it's still fresh, it does stay in my mind longer. And even if it doesn't necessarily, it's still there. It's still there in my in my notes. And then if I read it back, I go, oh yeah. Oh,
you remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have vivid dreams? And Kristen says always. And she said they're so clear that she remembers them the whole next day into the next night.
Wow.
Yeah. And Amy says that no matter where she goes, she's going to open doorways. She says it's Kristen. It's not the house.
Yeah.
And she tells Kristen, you come with the door. And she said, Kristen is open. The dead are looking for help. And they're going to seek her out. And Kristen says she actually got emotional learning that Amy was going to come here. She said she started to feel guilty, like she was letting someone down, but she didn't know who. She just felt that way.
Oh.
And she said it's a really sad feeling that comes over her. And Amy
she's probably an empath too.
Yeah, yep, she's probably an empath. And so Amy says that as sensitives, the dead will form relationships with them. And she said the dead move in because sensitives are still alive and the dead don't want to leave. They want to be connected to the living somehow. And then they show video of the veins popping out and what happened to Kristen. And Amy does a voiceover and she says she's seen attacks like that before. And it's not good. It's very dangerous and it can cause serious damage if Kristen doesn't put a stop to it. Wow. And so she explains jumping, what that is. And then she starts talking about the bug entity and how it crawls on the roof, goes to the windows.
I forgot about the bug.
Yeah, I know. There's lots going on.
So much shit went on in between. I forgot all about that damn bug.
Herb is kind of Herb is dominating it. So it attached itself to Kristen. And Amy says, well, what happens if they decide to do nothing and just kind of live the way they're living? And Amy says, well, if this thing gets in, Kristen will lose her mind. She'll go insane.
Oh, no.
So what can they do, to fix it? And Amy says, the first thing that you need to do is set boundaries. She said a lot of these dead people are just roaming around. And Amy says they need to seal their house. You need to put salt around the house outside and then sage the inside of the house to stop energy from getting in, and tell all the spirits to leave and then seal the property to keep the family safe. And that way the dead are also helped in an appropriate way. And then with Herb, she said, you have to be firm. And he wants to move in and he'd take over, but he can't because he's dead. And this is where I was really blown away by what she said. She said, you're alive. Your energy surpasses his energy. She said, we are alive. We have control. They cannot be in our space. And that to me was so, it just struck me as so powerful because it's true. As scary as ghosts can be, and they can be really scary.
Sure.
We have more power than they do simply by being alive.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought
you
that
just
was
have to own your power.
You just have to realize, no. I'm in control.
Okay.
You're not. I'm alive. You're not.
Interesting.
I say what happens. Yeah. And I know there are probably some entities that wouldn't work for, like the bug thing and, other things. But She, was telling Herb, stop it. Leave me alone. Yeah, she said, we have control. They cannot be in our space. And I just really liked that a lot. I'm like, that is, what, Amy, I love it. Like, it's true. We have energy. We have more energy than they do by simply existing. So then Kristen has followed Amy's advice, but she still struggles to remain closed. And that's understandable. I mean, if you've been open your whole life without knowing it, it's going to be tough to just, boom, close it down.
Well, and also, if you're an empath, which I assume she is. She probably feels bad about closing off because she's like, well, now I can't help people that need my help.
Right.
So by closing off, I'm saying, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
Right. But in realistically, though, she can do both. She's got to set those boundaries.
Yeah. She has to have control.
I will help you,
but not right now.
Yeah, between the hours of like
my office hours are
1 to 5 p.m. 30 minutes for lunch.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Single file.
Get in a line, take a number.
Yeah. So the attacks have decreased since Amy's visit.
Good.
They haven't stopped, but they've decreased. So that was a really good episode.
Yeah.
And I just really liked what she said at the end. We're like, we're in charge.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah. That's great.
And as somebody who is afraid of ghosts, even I'm obsessed with them. I know you guys, it's weird. I'm an enigma. I'm an enigma. That's good to know because yeah.
That reminds me, I know that I've texted you about this, but I don't think we've spoken about it in real life.
And to be fair, even if you've texted me, I probably forgot.
Well, okay. Well, to refresh your mind a little bit. So I have been watching this show called Psychic Kids.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's on Discovery.
It is on Discovery. I've seen it before.
And you've seen the show?
No, I've seen the thumbnail of it. Yeah.
So I highly recommend watching it. It is so good.
Okay.
So the season that's on right now is, I think, the second season because there was another show called Psychic Kids - something else, like a longer title. And it was 10 years ago. And it was children who were psychic and were having issues and didn't understand how to use their powers and stuff. And a medium would come in and help them learn it.
Yeah.
The episode or the season that's on right now is those kids from the other episode now coming in. They're 10 years older. Yeah. They're in their 20s.
Yeah.
They're now coming in to help other children who are going through this stuff. I love
that.
And it's so good. It's so good.
I'll have to check it out.
The mentors who were the children before, the mentors are so wonderful and they're so good with these kids. And the kids are just so sweet and like trying to understand what the fuck is going on. And when they flash back to the previous season or the previous series, and one of the psychics who mediums, whatever he is, who's now helping the new kids, his mentor was Chip Coffey. So Chip Coffey's in some of the flashbacks. Yeah.
Oh, bitchin'.
I know, right?
Don't do it.
What?
My cat. He's trying to get up.
That was Herb. But yeah, I recommend watching.
That sounds good.
Super good. That
sounds really good.
Yeah,
really,
it's really fun.
Really good.
Really good. Well, good job. That was a good one. A lovely recap.
We took the first half of the recap together because I didn't remember the part of the episode watching it because it was so long ago.
The last episode that I covered with you, I had watched it, done my notes, and then I begged. And we were going to do it another couple days later. And then your back went out and then we couldn't do it then. And then we were going to do it like the next week. And then your back was still bad and you couldn't do it again.
Yeah. So
I watched that fucking episode 3 times because I kept forgetting about, I'm like, it was like 3 weeks ago that I first watched it.
So then we finally did it when I was on the couch.
Yeah. And you were laying there
because I couldn't go down the stairs. When it first happened, the day it happened, you guys, I literally had to crawl into my house on my hands and knees because I could not get up my steps. I couldn't walk up steps. God. So I had
Did
to
it come on
crawl.
really quick, like when you were driving home from work, or what?
So I put Jordan in the car seat, and that's when I tweaked it, and then it just kept getting progressively worse and worse and worse.
No. Okay.
So,
well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Me too. It was worse than childbirth.
Oh,
to be fair, I did have an epidural, but before I had the epidural, it was worse than that. So,
right.
Amy, what are we talking about next time?
Well, I'm not really sure. Okay. We are either going to just, because Amy will be with us. New Amy, which we need a new Amy. We need a nickname for her.
Not new Amy.
Or I don't know. I can have a nickname too.
Bitchin' Amy.
Bitchin' Amy. We'll figure out something to call her.
I would love to do some alliteration because you know how I love a good alliteration.
Right.
So we'll workshop it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. If you guys have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, if you have any ideas, shoot it to us. Beep,
yeah.
boop.
So Amy will be with us next week. We are either going to just shoot the shit and introduce you guys to her, or we'll let her do a recap because there is a show that she wants to recap.
Yes.
But I don't know if she's ready to jump right in with.
It's an episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. An episode of the Dead Files that she wanted to recap. An episode of the Dead
Files. Yeah. I won't tell you what it is yet, but it's one that she mentioned that to both Megan and I separately.
Yes.
That she thought we should cover it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it next week. And then when we decided to bring her on, I was like, why don't I just have her do it? So
what if Amy does it?
What if Amy does it? So we'll see. She'll do that. If she doesn't want to, that's fine.
Yep, that's
whatever.
Totally fine.
We can just shoot the shit. Like I said, this is going to be our last episode of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the one with Amy will be.
Yes. And then we will jump right in with recapping the first episode of season 15 of the Dead Files, which airs June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll watch it as soon as we can after it's released. Mm-hmm. And then we will talk about it and then give it to you the week after. So that's the plan.
That's the plan. Really quick fun fact. Shark Week this week. This year.
It's this week?
Oh. It's this year. Trust me, you would know.
I was going to say.
Know. Guess who's hosting it?
I don't know.
Jason Momoa.
Oh.
I know.
Wowzer.
It's weird though, because it's Tuesday to Tuesday this year, and it's always been Sunday to Sunday. July 11th.
He must have been busy on Monday.
Monday. He's like, listen, I can do it, but only if we do it
Tuesday to Tuesday. That's real strict. I got to set some boundaries somewhere.
I got stuff. Yeah, I got boundaries. I got stuff. So July 11th through July 18th.
Oh, okay.
Is Shark Week 2023. So mark your calendars.
Good to know.
We know I have.
Yep. That reminds me, because you lost a shark from Follow, right?
I did. Yeah.
I think that Regina, my penguin, might either. I'm just gonna say her tracker fell off. Okay.
So have you clicked on her?
Yeah.
When's the last time she was pinged?
It was like 3 months ago.
Oh yeah, she's probably gone.
Yeah.
Her tracker. Her tracker's gone.
Yeah, her tracker fell off. So I'll reach out to them and say, do you know anything about Regina?
Yeah, and you can do that because I did that with Thor, and I was like, listen.
Yeah, I did that with my elephant that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't paying attention that they report the elephant's location 4 months after
later.
So that poachers don't go after him.
Good.
So, and perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, my Barbara, my polar bear, I saw her just a couple days ago.
She's kicking.
But Regina her tracker fell off.
And
we're just going to go with that. Her tracker fell
happens.
off. She's an old lady. She's an older lady. So I don't know. But
maybe she's with Herb.
Maybe she's with Herb or Babu or whatever, which was your shark.
Babu, yeah.
Hope she's not with the shark.
Maybe
anyway.
I don't think sharks, they do eat penguins. Sorry.
We'll see.
Nature's savage, you guys. Nature's fucking savage.
Oh.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look in my backyard and watch my little baby Yorkie
maul a rabbit to death.
Tear a rabbit apart. I will put a trigger warning on this, but to say it was traumatic is an understatement. It was like she was a demon. And I'm like, look it up.
I mean, to be fair though,
to be fair,
like she is technically a predator.
Yeah.
I say technically because she's about 6 inches long, but
she is bred to be a ratter or a mouser. That's her job. A little baby bunny looks just like that. I get it. But oh my God. And she was fucking prouder than shit.
I'm sure she was. I'm sure
sitting there wagging her tail.
Nature is savage, you guys. Like, it's not savage. So anyway, we need an Allenism. You pick, because I always pick.
It is time for an Allenism.
It's time for an Allenism.
Let's see. Okay. I've always liked this one. This is number 26.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess that this was when he dropped something or something. And he says, I am usually more adroit with my finger butters.
My finger butters.
My finger butters.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a cute one.
That's cute. It's so cute.
That's so cute.
Cute. All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. And next week, there will be 3 of us.
We're growing.
Yay. Skyrocket. Anyway.
Flight.
So that's
afternoon. Nope, not. I mean, listen, if you want afternoon delight, that's great, but that's not what the podcast is. Yeah.
No.
Live your truth, live your freedom.
That's right.
All right.
Okay.
On that note,
once again, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks everybody. We will see you next time with Amy.
Yes.
Bye. See you later. Bye.
Okay, this is Amy L. here doing the fact check for this episode, which in the future will be done by the other Amy. So the things we talked about that we had questions on. The first one is Shomer Negia. It literally means preserve touch. It's not about limiting touch. It's about using the power of touch where it can generate the most sparks on the inside of a committed relationship. I found this in an article that I will link to in the show notes. Then, Megan said that she thinks the world was supposed to end around this time, May 25th, in 2012. It was actually December 21st, 2012. And I have a link to that in the show notes as well. About wineberries. Patron Amy had said that grapes used to be called wineberries, and Megan and I both loved that, and we're calling them that from now on. And I found online it said it was from Middle English, wineberry, W-Y-N-B-E-R-I-E, a grape or other some kind of berry. From Old English, winberge, W-I-N-B-E-R-G-E. Okay, and then from Proto-Germanic, winnabasia is equivalent to wine and berry. It's a doublet of wimberry, bilberry. I don't know how helpful that is, but in other words, it's true. Wineberries. So grapes henceforth will be called wineberries in our world. Megan noted the Dakota County Paranormal Society. I Googled them and I did find their Facebook page. I put a link in the show notes, but it does seem like they're not active anymore. In 2020, they announced they were taking a break on investigations due to health issues, and it doesn't look like they came back from that. So sorry to hear that. Dakota Paranormal Society, if you are still around, reach out, let us know, and we'll make an adjustment in our next episode. A boiler room was mentioned. Megan wasn't sure what it was. I said it was a room with a furnace in it, and I guess it sort of is. It's from British English. It's a noun. Any room in a building, often in the basement, that contains a boiler for central heating. So I guess a boiler and a furnace are the same thing. I mentioned a show called Psychic Kids, and I wasn't sure what the name of the previous series was that this one was built on. It was called Psychic Kids, Children of the Paranormal. And I'm not sure where you can see that. I couldn't find it anywhere. I think that's it. Those are our fact checks for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of The Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when The Activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds Podcast Network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.